Yes. And it's Vandalizer. Lock Up Recordings. Joedan on the beat. Stories for ya. Listen. So let's go reflect to the first man that ever overstepped. Year 4 with no respect. That's when I got overvexed. I grabbed him in a headlock, choked his neck back, healed him in his face and broke his specs. You heard the storyteller, you know the next. I already said about when I bashed man's head about, made him eat curd for the P word, but anyhow. 20 years later I see him with his friends in town. I look in his eyes and I know that he remembers now. I will admit, I got bullied more than a little bit. Didn't want to pass that to my bro, I couldn't live with it. He came up from year 7, he was just a little kid. Man from my year 11, thought he'd give him shit. I was prang at first, but when I saw him I was living quick. I switched and flipped, I kicked and hit. The teacher stood right in and split it up. I got a chair and lifted it up. The teacher stood against the wall because he didn't want to get it with it. I threw it at his head anyway. True, nothing works like an aggressive display. The 4th person I ever smacked up was Destiny Fate. Funnily enough, he's one of my best mates today. Back in Sherwood, that's when we had the maddest fights. There was Bear Man, but for a one-on-one I asked him nice. Put my arms behind my back, then I let him smack me twice. Then I smashed and crushed his fucking head in like a clamped vice. I'm not one who whinges, but to my family's lives my anger often hinders. I always was a nice guy, really wasn't vicious. We just used to all cotch round at ninjas. I tried to forget but it lingers. The gang came to my yard, I slammed the door and nearly took off all their fingers. Then they kicked the door off the hinges. All I can remember is thinking, please not the windows. I like to brag about the fights I've had, a violent lad, but don't think I'm a road man, I'm not quite as bad. No knife to stab, I just jab because I like to scrap. Not quite a psychopath, but I think a fight's a laugh and I'm just daft. I bite like a staff, but true life is mad, and people die from that.
There ain't nothing there. Yeah, but you can't live like this.
Moral of the story is that I'm a twat. I'll tell you a quick story that's funny. One of my best mates thought he got skanked out of some money. He punched me, headbutted me, broke my nose and blacked both my eyes, that fucking hurt me. Plus that move was clumsy, cause then I had to stop man from running up on his mum's head. Then the pussy went and left the country. You say we spoke recently and it's all fucking cush there, but it still burns cause it was never settled justly. I got glassed at a Christmas party, just from some random domestic in general. One time I headbutted a guy for talking shit while I was on my fag break at domestic in general. Another time when I was outside Revs, there was these guys on stairs. One of them was a giant, swear his eyes were red. He swung for me and missed. I just thought right time for bed, and to this day I'm still proud of the way I fucking striked his head. I had a big dispute with some youths cause I nicked their zoot when I was pissed and rude. They broke my nose, but I wanna say sorry that I injured you. Sorry for the scar I left on his arm when I bit the dude. And one time back when I was a messy goon, one guy tried it in a rave, I just thought I'd end him soon. Waiting for the beat to drop, it was the sickest banger tune. I headbutted him 10 times, knocked him out and left the room. One time at Don't Flop Norwich, I told this guy to hold it down, but he just liked to gossip. I told him nicely stop it, then I banged him in his jaw, but it was a pussy punch to be honest, and I didn't quite just clock it. But then this other guy I had to batter, cause he tried it with my brother, so I banged him out, stamped him after. Lucky that I didn't use his head to get my glass to shatter. That was all in the venue the night before I battled Matter. I like to brag about the fights I've had, a violent lad, but don't think I'm a road man, I'm not quite as bad. No knife to stab, I just jab because I like to scrap. Not quite a psychopath, but I think a fight's a laugh and I'm just daft. I bite like a staff, but true life is mad, and people die from that. The moral of the story is that I'm a fucking twat. 10,000 views and I'll release a part 2. Subscribe to the channel, all that bullshit.